It's Conor here, coming from ESA Business School here in Barcelona. And this week's video, a couple of themes, but the core theme of this video is consistency. And there's a couple of podcasts, interviews, conversations I've had over the last few days that just reminded me once again of the importance of consistency in our lives if we really want to make a lasting positive impact, not only in our own life, but in the lives of the people we care about and the lives of this world in which we live. And the first thing, I think, over the last couple of weeks, I've struggled to make a video. I've struggled in the context of what we're dealing with on the news, in the environment, to think, what possible value is a small video talking about being kind to each other in a world where one country is invading another, and on the news we can see bombs and destruction once again. But I guess the choice that you and I and all of us have in each of our days is what's going to win. Is tyranny and violence going to win, or is compassion and humanity going to win? And the way each of us play this game is in our own days. Are we contributing more compassion and humanity to the people around us, to our own lives? Or are we responding to the events out in the world by getting more angry, insular, by judging others? And I found it very difficult over the last weeks to not fall into a mode of a bit of despair, a sense that we're losing something that we thought we had guaranteed. Peace and travel and being able to build a global civilization of compassionate humans. But we've shown once again, bombs and guns can stop any great progress. So, consistency. I was listening to Tim Ferriss' podcast recently, and Tim Ferriss was interviewing Neill. Neil Gaiman is an author, and you could hear in the interview that Tim has been waiting years for the opportunity to speak to Neil Gaiman. That clearly this is a person that his books and his way of being and his way of communicating is something that Tim holds in high esteem. And Tim asked Neil Gaiman about how he writes. And it was interesting. Neil Gaiman said, your best writing is that every day is the same. And that Neil says his own life is quite a boring life because a good writer just repeats a good day over and over and over again. For Neil to write a book, he has a little hut at the end of his garden. He goes there and he sits there, and he says he has one rule for himself when he goes to the writer's hut in his garden. He will either write or do nothing. So day after day, Neil wakes in the morning, has his breakfast, and he goes and he sits for a few hours in his writer's hut. And he has two things that he can be doing: putting words onto the page or doing nothing. And he says that often putting words on a page is a real struggle. Doing nothing is a valid choice, but you get quite bored quite quickly. So this rule over years and years has tended to mean that after half an hour of doing nothing, it gets quite boring doing nothing, and he ends up putting words onto the page. But it's the consistency of showing up day after day and giving himself this choice. When he's sat at his writer desk, he either produces words or does nothing. So he says that choice means that his brain doesn't sabotage him, but it accepts that I do have a choice. I can write or do nothing. So sometimes I will choose to do nothing. But most days I will end up finding that putting words on the page and exploring what my characters are going to do, confronting the challenges that are in front of them, is more interesting than just sitting and doing nothing. And I like this rule, to give yourself a rule that when you sit at your place where you do important work, you give yourself this choice. I will either do the most important piece of work that will move my life forward, or I will do nothing. I think for many years I used to have an alarm on my phone, and I set it every hour to pop up and just ask me a question. Is what you are doing right now giving you long-term advantage or making you happy in this moment? If no, get up and go outside. And I remember when I first started doing this, just interrupting myself every hour to ask myself, is what I'm doing right now contributing long term to put me in a better place a year, 5 years, 10 years down the road? Or is it making me happy in this moment? Those two types of activity are worthwhile. And I discovered email, the answer is always no, no. Answering email, I'm never building a better long-term future for myself. And neither am I sitting here thinking, wow, I feel truly fulfilled and engaged. So email is something I've fought to really reduce. Writing an article, it's hard work, but it's helping me that in 5, 10 years, my thinking is more clear. There's something I can use in my courses to share with people to help the courses that I teach become better. And the other side, skiing. I love skiing, so when I'm skiing, I'm happy right now, but it's not making my life necessarily better 5 or 10 years down the road. But I think this idea, on Neil Gaiman's rule, when you sit down to do important work, give yourself this freedom. Either do the most important piece of work that will move your life forward in the medium long term, or do nothing. But hold yourself between those two. Don't allow the mobile phone to come out, to check social media, to just distract, to read a book. Do nothing or do really important work. So there are 3 options in life. Do really important work, do nothing, or do something that really gives you joy in this moment. The second idea that struck me on this theme of consistency, I was at the football a couple of weeks ago with a good friend of mine, Julio, and Julio is a swimmer. And he told me of a practice that the coach has the swimmers do. And he said, sometimes they race to be the fastest, but very often what the swim training will be is the whole group of swimmers will swim 8 times 100 meters. So if it's a 50-meter pool, back and forth. And they'll swim it 8 times. And the winner is not the person with the fastest time. The winner is the person who is most consistent in the time that they do over the course of the 800 meters. And that this training for consistency is as important as the training for speed. And it had me stop and think, what a powerful training in our own lives. The idea of, instead of one great day or your best time this day, what way in the habits that really matter, whether it's writing, whether it's being thankful, whether it's setting your goals, that instead of having great days and then lots of days that aren't so good, aim at consistency in your days. So for me, one of the things I ask anyone who joins my programs to do is switch on your webcam and record yourself 3 minutes each day. Just put your words together, say something. And if you practice 3 minutes each day saying things, getting words out, structuring your thinking in a way that you can get it out to other people, 3 minutes every day, it makes a huge impact in how eloquent you are, how powerfully your words start to land, how capable you are of expressing ideas in shorter and shorter ways that really land with people. But recording one day for 3 minutes, or even recording one day for 15 minutes, is not as powerful as day after day after day. 3 minutes, say something. 3 minutes, say something. And this idea that most of the things that make us successful in life is not being brilliant on one day. It's the consistency of small habits day after day after day. I think my mother, when I was young, managed to inculcate me with the idea of washing my teeth. And brushing your teeth, if you brush your teeth every day, morning and night, you'll still have teeth when you're old. If you don't brush your teeth Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday, you think, well, I'll wash my teeth 7 times longer to make up for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're not going to have teeth when you're old. It's daily habits, this daily consistency that really makes a difference. This morning over breakfast with my daughter, my 15-year-old daughter, we were talking about the difference between school smart and life smart. And school smart, very often just having a quick brain that is good at maths, can allow you in the last hours before an exam to catch up, put yourself in a good position and get a good grade. And that works in school, but it doesn't work in life. And one of the things that I feel that is a real distinguisher of what leads to success in school versus what leads to success in life is this consistency. that being smart is a dangerous thing in school because it teaches you to wait till the last minute and use this powerful brain you have to catch up. Whereas the kid who's found a way of just consistently doing a little bit of work day after day, making steady progress day after day, is the one building habits that are going to mean that not just you're in school, but out there in life over time, they really start to make a bigger difference. And for me, it's been a hard lesson for me to learn. I think the way I was at school was wait till the last minute, and then luckily I had a knack of just understanding the subjects in school enough to be able to catch up in very little time. And I was even proud of this approach when I was in school. As an entrepreneur for the last 20 years, what I work at inculcating in myself and others is daily habits. Vistage, what I say to people, if you want to be successful at Vistage, 2 coffees a day. If you can have 2 coffees a day with CEOs, with people that influence CEOs, with people that you can have a deep, engaging conversation where both of you get greater clarity about where you are, where you're going, and what action needs to happen, 2 coffees a day, you're going to be very successful. 10 coffees today, but then no coffees tomorrow, you're not going to be successful. It's the consistency that really makes the difference. So a couple of ideas in this video just on consistency. That rather than trying to have one good day, a bad day that has a couple of small habits but that you can repeat them day after day after day after day is much more powerful in the long term than any one good day. So I wish you consistency, and I have to admit that I haven't been consistent in my videos over the last couple of weeks. I've really let the invasion of Ukraine just have me start to question how important these videos are in the context of a world where guns and tanks and missiles have started to matter once again. But I think the only way that we push back against tyranny is by being generous, compassionate, and remembering why we listen to each other rather than use power. So anyway, on that reflection, I hope you have a great day. It's Conor here from ESA in Barcelona. Thank you for your likes, your subscribes, your shares. Keeps this channel growing, keeps me inspired to keep hitting record on this camera, keep building the consistency in my own life of making these videos. Have a great one.